Am I the asshole for turning my sister-in-law gay? Period. I'll keep this short. I'm a 30 female and a lesbian. I've been out and proud since '05. I've been living with my brother slash sister-in-law since the start of 2019, a year before quarantine happened. But this drama stuff blew up within the last couple weeks. Okay, so I asked to move into my brother slash sister-in-law's place for a while so I could save up for a nicer place. My last apartment was in a shit area and I didn't feel safe. They agreed. They knew how dangerous my place was, and bro thought that it would be a good idea for sister-in-law to have someone around while he was gone. FYI, he's a truck driver and is gone for like over a week at a time and had to leave my sister-in-law home. All right, well, their house isn't a mansion, but it's roomy enough to where I could have my then friends with benefits over on some nights a week without worrying that I would disturb my sister-in-law. Their bedroom is like across the house from my room slash guest room. And I asked if it was cool with both of them beforehand, and they said as long as I and anyone I brought over was quiet and respectful, it would be okay. So I would regularly bring over friends with benefits slash girlfriends I was dating at the time. But that all stopped once quarantine happened. Well, brother and I still have our jobs. Sister-in-law and I have been hanging out more since we're pretty much the only company we get. But I noticed she'd been acting odd for a month or so into quarantine. I figured it was just cabin fever jitters, understandable. But then the last few times brother came home, things between him and sister-in-law were a little off. I figured they were having a spat and it didn't involve me. Well, apparently it did, because my brother came home a couple of days ago and things were still tense. I didn't even eat dinner with them. I just ate in my room. But after dinner, I heard yelling from the other side of the house, but before I could even get up to check, I heard stomping feet, and then brother bust into my room and start cussing me out and saying I ruined his marriage and that sister-in-law was yelling at him to stop and that it wasn't her fault. I'm just so confused. Of course, I asked what the hell is even happening. I don't think I even have enough space to type out the gritty of the convo, but apparently sister-in-law is slash was a closeted lesbian, and she came out to brother after dinner. She explained that seeing me be so happy and out made it hard for her to keep up the lie. I'm still speechless because I had no clue that she was anything but straight. I'm not saying gaydar is real, but usually I'll at least get a vibe. But then brother says that I'm an evil asshole and I turned his wife gay and how he never should have let me move in. Sister-in-law told him to stop, how she would have come out eventually with or without me there. I felt really awkward and my brother said I need to be gone by the time that he returns from his next trip, which was heartbreaking because he really looked like he hated my guts. I feel like such an asshole. Sister-in-law and brother always seemed so happy, like the perfect couple, but I called my friends and she said I'm not an asshole. I'm just tired and unsure. So, am I the asshole? Not the asshole. You can't turn someone gay. Okay? That's like, I don't really have anything else to say in this situation because you can't turn someone gay. And to say that you can turn someone gay or like, I feel like it's just kind of a microaggression in my opinion because it's like, what do you mean you can just turn someone gay? That would mean, you know what I mean? If you know, you know. I feel like that is understandable because that's just such a weird thing to say. Oh, because I'm gay, you think that it's like a disease that like is contagious and spreads to other people? That's like the craziest thing I've ever heard to say that. So yeah. Someone said, no, you didn't turn her gay. She realized she wasn't straight. She told your brother. If anything, sister-in-law was an asshole for potentially stringing your brother along if she didn't have feelings for him, but maybe she thought that she could cure her gayness. Super unpleasant for all parties involved, but no one is actually really bad here. And then OP said, sister-in-law said she didn't think she was gay till about 3 years ago. They got married about 7 years previous, and she was too scared to acknowledge it because of the way her shitty parents raised her, on top of the fact that she had been married to my brother for nearly 4 years by then. She said she mostly kept silent because saying anything would have hurt my brother. And despite everything she said, she cares about him a lot. Yeah, that's hard because I feel like that's such a hard situation to be in. If you're already married and it's been 4 years, it's like you feel like maybe I should just push it down and not say anything, even though you want to like live a life in an authentic life, but you feel like you can't because you're going to hurt people and you're scared. Like, that makes sense. I understand. Someone said, I really don't understand how this works, so help me out here. Sister-in-law is an adult woman that married your brother. I presume that she had sexual urges her whole adult life, and those apparently didn't include men. Therefore, at no point did she feel any sexual attraction to your brother. Why did she marry him in the first place? Maybe she's pan or bisexual. Like, maybe she does. I don't know. Okay, wait. OP says, back to that. I had to ask her this because at the end of the day, I don't know what it's like to marry someone that you're not attracted to. And she said that she's only recently understood that the strong platonic love she felt for the women friends in her life was actually romantic/sexual attraction. She grew up in a very staunchly religious home with very homophobic parents who condemned everything that's not traditional/heterosexual. Apparently, her mother and father openly hated each other and treated her and her siblings even worse. So she grew up with the mindset that her marriage would follow the same tone. So she dated men, felt nothing for them, and the sex was uneventful. But it was expected, so no red flags there. And when she met my brother, they really hit it off, and she assumed that that was her in love. She and my brother had the same hobbies. They liked the same music and just generally synced up perfectly. She said the bedroom stuff was still uneventful, but again, she'd seen the women she grew up around all look unhappy, so that just must be normal. She mistook her close platonic love for my brother as romantic love, so they got married. And that makes complete sense. Someone said, not the asshole, if anything, your brother is. I understand that he's hurt, but he's taking his hurt out as an opportunity to be homophobic. Anyone who's truly an ally wouldn't say that because they understand that turning someone gay is impossible. Even if it's hard, he should have understood that his wife has always been a lesbian and that it would have come out eventually, or she would have lived miserably, and that she's probably still his friend. She did marry him after all. He owes you an apology as far as I'm concerned. That's how I feel as well. OP said, I'm trying to keep that in mind. He's hurting, but he and I will talk when he's back and had time to think. And yeah, sister-in-law said she does love him in a way, just not the way that he wants. And she wishes she could love him how he wants. She said she married him because she cares about him, and she thought that that's how getting married was supposed to be. Exactly, because not everyone has it figured out. And it's like, give these people grace. It's not like she went and like cheated on him to experiment with women and stuff. Like, it's confusing. It's a confusing thing, especially if you're raised around homophobic people and you're meant to believe that like you need to be traditional in order to be like a normal person, and you're just like, it's so confusing to be raised that way. And also, I can't imagine, like, in general, it's confusing to be raised that way or to be around people that like a majority of people think in that way. And then to add on to that, also being gay is just another confusing level. But then also, like, in the way that like you see and you witness relationships really does affect your relationships. You normalize that kind of stuff in your head. Obviously, if you see that, oh, all these people are like, that's what marriage is supposed to look like. You don't have like a good representation of what a marriage is supposed to look like and so you're just like, oh, okay, that's normal that I feel this way. So I don't really see an issue with it. Okay, so there's an update. Hey guys, sorry for the dead silence. Well, I moved out. I got my new place and it's pretty nice. It's weird not having anyone here when I get back from work, but I'm sure that's just because I've been living at my brother's place for so long. I know you all just want to hear about my brother and my sister-in-law and not my new place, so brother and sister-in-law are definitely getting divorced. I moved out before he got back, just like he wanted. Before I did, though, my brother called me and we talked on the phone while he was off the clock. Like a lot of you predicted, he asked if sister-in-law and I slept together at any point. I'm not proud, but I sort of flipped my shit on him for that. He knows my dating history. He knows how I feel about cheating. I told him it hurt to know that he thinks I'm no better than my cheating ex. That I cared so little about our brother/sister relationship that I would actually F his wife, who I reiterated that I only see as a sister, but even if I didn't, I still would never cheat. He broke down, you guys, full on ugly cried on the phone. It was awkward, but I think he really needed it. He apologized for everything, going ballistic on me, kicking me out during a pandemic, thinking I would cheat with anyone, everything. I told him thanks, but I need time to forgive him. The hurt's not just going to disappear just because he said sorry, but it helped soothe it, and I said I still love him. He said I didn't have to move out, but I said I was already in the process of getting my new place, so it was fine. I could tell he felt bad, but I didn't try to placate him. Some of you said I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't say it's okay because it's not. How he treated me isn't okay. But he told me he and sister-in-law were definitely splitting up. I told him I figured so. That with everything, no counseling can save a marriage where one partner is gay. But I didn't say that. Just that I thought so. He tried to lighten the mood by saying he asked sister-in-law about the cheating thing first, and she flipped her shit on him even worse than I did. He said it jokily, but I can tell that he was serious. I asked what she said, and he sort of sounded awkward, but said that she told him, quote, I found out I was gay, but that doesn't mean that I'm some cheating whore. That and just how he was gross for thinking that she would screw some kid. Pff, thanks for that. Let alone her husband's kid's sister that she's known since said kid was a minor. Also that it was messed up that he just automatically assumed she would hop on the first gay woman in her vicinity when they were still very much married. And it was just all around not received well by sister-in-law, which I can understand. Being accused of cheating by people you love effing hurts. Last I checked, things were civil between brother and sister-in-law. She moved fully into the other bedroom so she and he could have space, I guess, for when he was home. Sister-in-law is still trying to move their divorce along, but from what I've heard, brother is sort of dragging his feet. I don't know what's going on there, and I haven't asked. Not my business, to be honest. Our family is disappointed that they're splitting, but with the circumstances, they understand it's necessary. I talk to brother a few times a week, just texting, but I told him about how there's a few support groups for spouses whose partners came out as gay, and he should check them out. It would help him through this. He sounded hesitant, but said that he would look into that, so it's good. I don't know if he will, but I hope so. I also pointed sister-in-law in the direction of some threads for people who realized they were gay while in a straight relationship. She was thankful. And that's about it. I still speak to sister-in-law. I'd feel like shit just cutting her off like some people suggested. She's like my big sister. I've known her for years, and aside from this, she's been nothing but the best wife and sister-in-law ever. So, I don't know. We're all moving forward. Sorry nothing super dramatic happened, but at least it wasn't a sad update. Peace, everyone, and thanks for helping me work this out. Storytime Society is now available on all listening platforms. If you are on any of those listening platforms, I would really appreciate it if you rated me 5 stars. Thanks for all the support. I don't get why people were saying that she should cut off her sister-in-law. Because why? Like, what? And also, I feel like it's so important to recognize that, like, just because someone's gay doesn't mean that they're automatically hooking up with every person that is the same gender as them, if that makes sense, you know? Like, I feel like that's such a stereotype. Like, I feel like, I don't know, it's very common, which it's not right, but I've heard so many times, like, I've heard so many people be like, oh, like, say I'm going to hang out with my friend who's a lesbian. They're like, oh, are you going to, like, hook up with them? Are you going to, like, cheat on your boyfriend with them? And it's like, what? Because they're lesbian, you think that they want to just hook up with me? Do you think that every single person that they're friends with, first of all, my lesbian friend that has a girlfriend is not gonna hook up with me, and also we're friends, like, we're just friends. But it's so hard for some people to comprehend, and it's like, I feel like it's important to say that, though, because just because you're gay doesn't mean you're just gonna go hook up with any other gay person that's around. Like, hey, let me hook up with this person, and also doesn't mean you're gonna cheat on your spouse. And that's even something that, like, was like a normalized thing to think growing up, like, but obviously I'm an adult now, and I've learned a lot more things and outside of the box of living in a small town in Iowa, and I realized, like, that's a crazy thing that people think, but it's a very common thing. And I think as more people are becoming open-minded and like not the worst types of people and not homophobic, the more people are starting to educate themselves about that kind of stuff. So, okay, the top comment says, I feel like COVID sped up a lot of divorces and also resulted in a lot of later in life lesbians. I guess when you're stuck alone with your thoughts, you have time to figure some shit out. Someone said it saved some too. Ben Stiller and Christine Taylor were separated and decided to move back in together temporarily during lockdown to make it less complicated for him to see the kids, and they ended up reconciling. Someone said, I live in Utah and was born and raised Mormon. I'm not sure I could have left the church without COVID. I needed the extended break from the weekly meetings. Many people I know also left during COVID. We finally had time to think for ourselves and research our way out of the church. I'll always be grateful for COVID for helping me break free. Me too. I went to my last meeting in February of 2020, stake conference. The visiting 70 complained about people having faith crises and about LGBT people. I went up to him after the meeting to try to tell him off, but mostly just cried. I did home church with my sister's family for a few weeks, but soon thereafter, I was fully out. My depression abated significantly over the next few months, and I realized that I no longer needed to emotionally recover for half the week after church beat me down on Sundays. Without COVID, I'm not sure how much longer it would have taken for me to get out. A couple of my friends like to joke about the pandemic, how it was great for helping people realize they were gay, trans, or neurodiverse. Well, thank God for COVID, right? No pun intended. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.